pinging energy going. I know we were moving through the Leo moon. Unbeknownst to me, I knew it was coming, and it was like, great, I've got Saturn and Leo. That's going to be fun. And especially collectively, it is heart chakra. So there's ego, there's attachment, it's a full moon, it's acting like an eclipse. It's the shadow sign of Aquarius, which is the collective. And I did say a while ago that we are going to have a turbulent 2 weeks moving into February. And I really haven't seen any astrologer mention that. I haven't. It's like, yeah, no, it's really good because all the planets are direct. No, it's not. Why? Because we've got the shadow of Mercury, theoretically. Mercury tends to linger around a bit longer lately. Haven't you seen it? And unfortunately, we had Mars in Gemini. Still got that bitch there. I'm just being frank. Which relates to Mercury. We had the Leo moon. It was making a square to Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus and Taurus, when that baby goes direct, it is unpredictable to the max. I mean, it is like Forrest Gump, a box of chocolates. You're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. Especially those of us in the spiritual community, we're seeing an element of what's to come. How would I unpack it? Number one is when I saw the astrology, I was like, shit, we're going into a shit show. And that's more the people in the spiritual community due to the fact that Saturn restricts. So how will I explain that? Okay, so Saturn and Pisces, why is that so important? Number one, people in the collective will be looking for something to believe in. It's the dreams, it's the spirituality. But we also, at a surface level, won't trust people. We won't know who to trust. We won't know who to believe. We will feel disillusioned. In society, astrology is a great medium in many levels. It helps with your ascension. It helps with the transits as a weather forecast to current events that are coming up. So it's very predictive. Generally, when there's a transit, you look back to history for some sense of reference of what has happened previously. And so a lot of what I have done on my website is give you the unpacking of, with each transit, what is coming up. Is it going to be different to the last 5 years? Yes, it is. But what we did see, because we are entering into the age of Aquarius, it's a process, it's a rebirth. The old things are breaking down. And I think we were really seeing that probably from 2012. There was turbulent energy. In reference to what we're moving into, we're already seeing March energy. And I did warn everyone, you will be seeing, any transit Mars has been in, I have seen it 2 to 3 months earlier. So at the moment, we are embodying both Mars in Gemini and Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer is in its detriment, and it's to do with homes. It's your homes, it's your safety, it's your emotions, it's mother energy, it's where we live, how we feel safe and secure. It's also our kids, making sure they're safe, making sure they're okay, looking after feminine safety. So what we are seeing in the media at the moment has been a few things. I mean, you can link Pisces to several things. Pisces is spiritual gurus. Pisces is religion. It also can link to the Neptunian element of things, which is dreams. It can be psychedelics. It can be habits. And because it's going from the 12th house to the first house, and you don't have to completely understand what that means, I'm going to try as much as possible to unpack it for you. Spiritually speaking, we have been going through some themes over the last few years. One was North Node. When we get the nodes, it's sort of like a mathematical energy at a point in time, and it gives the signature to what the energy vibration is going to be for approximately 18 months. So the initial stage was what we deemed as the Great Conjunction. And we, in society, whenever there's been a Great Conjunction, there's usually been some sort of unwellness going on. There has been a breakdown in society. And when you do look at it, Uranus tends to bring those things to the surface of what's not working. So the good thing, I guess, we could look at the highest octane is that, certain things I've noticed in the last 48 hours has been um, more acceptance to do with maybe our sexuality. Sam Smith winning his award. More things that maybe in the old days, not so much that it wasn't there, but it was more that it brung those things to the surface so we could address them. So at the moment, we're seeing changes happening, earthquakes and things to that degree. And, Uranus does kind of cause those things to a degree. And I'm very cautious about how I'm saying this, and I'm not even going to bother monetizing this video. Um, because you have to find a harmony and a balance between when to give a psychic message, when to help the collective and say, look, okay, this is how I'm physically seeing it from an astrology chart. You usually can actually go back and you can link it to previous times. It is a little bit like math. It's a science involved in it. And so you'll get energy vibrations. And considering we understand the fact that we are water and we are affected by the tides and the moon, inadvertently, astrology directly is going to impact the collective. So it's not rocket science, but it's going to be pushed down. So, what I have seen has been a lot of issues, obviously, with social media. The reason that has been coming through is because we had 3 placements in media related areas of astrology. So analytics in things were affected. And so it was pointless getting angry at it because our environment in the technological world is changing, and inadvertently it is directly affecting every single platform. It's a little bit like there were no traffic lights and now we're going to have traffic lights. It's almost like you want to pull your teeth out during it. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's part of the process and we have to endure it. So what we can find is that there can be astrologers, tarot readers, psychic mediums that do leave certain platforms. And I'm saying it because I can see it in the astrology. So the reason that happens is because when Saturn is there, previous in history, we have become disillusioned in spirituality. We have felt either something does vibe with us or something doesn't. And Venus being in Pisces, and it is an interesting one that with Turkey and what they're going through right now, their placements are in that place. The only concern I would have is tsunami because it is a potential there with that. Um, The other thing is I can see in their chart, that's just a side note to something that is coming through in the media, but also looking at their birth chart, is that people will aid. It is shown in the chart that people will aid and support them. Interestingly enough, they do have a lot of Libra in their chart, and later on in the year, Libra is moving to the South Node and the North Node is moving to Aries, and we're kind of collectively getting that already. So why is that interesting? It's because we're ending a nodal cycle at the moment, but simultaneously we're moving into a PDF of the new one, and we see it before the nodes actually hit. So Jupiter at the moment is asking us to have courage, but we could be a little bit boisterous. Hi, Jan. Mars also is creating a pixelation, a slight distortion. So because the Leo moon had squares, if you were drinking, for instance, and you were socializing, you're not going to necessarily be in your most stable vibration due to the fact Uranus and Taurus can affect your nervous energy. So caffeine, pacifiers, alcohol, you may use them to pacify your stress levels, but they're not going to work. They're going to cause the anxiousness and the aggression, a heightened dynamic. There's a lot of base chakra as well going on at the moment, and it's because we're needing to get grounded. It's strange enough that in the spiritual community, we've got various levels of spirituality, okay? So we've got we have, and it is groups, because we're going to have Pluto moving into Aquarius. So we're going to have pack mentality. We're going to be like, we do vibe this tribe, we don't. And it's not that one is right or wrong. It's that it depends on where you are in your life, in your belief systems, and what's playing out in your chart. So we've got a few things. We have a country birth chart. We have your particular birth chart, and you've got 12 houses. We then have the people around you that you're directly dealing with and the energy of what is happening collectively. Well, I'm not surprised, Jan. You know why? Because we're Libras. And so Libras at the moment have that Neptune and Pisces. It links to the health area. It's stress level. So lots of fluid, meditation, letting go at the moment, really letting go and trying to not get too fixed. Now, that's pretty hard, because you hear a lot of people saying it's a great time to manifest. It's going to be a hard time to do that. And more than likely, from my experience as a psychic medium, is that when you're in a low octane and you're uncertain, it's better not to manifest at all. It's better to detach, to trust the process and understand that the things that we're unpacking are changing and that there's light and there's dark, and we have to have both. I was talking to Giggle earlier and we were talking about factors of things that were going on and some of my psychic downloads I was getting. And I did psychically hear lots of banging, okay? And that was coming up the last 3 days. And I do have to speak very much in code because of the taboo society we live in this modern age, and we can't talk about certain things. And it isn't that I'm not authentic. It is that in order to provide a service to you guys and give you the information that I want to give, I have to live within that realm, okay? It's a fine line to walk these days, but it's also how do you be the best service to your collective is by working with the system. And it does get frustrating, unbeknownst to you guys. I do get bloody frustrated because, we are putting on a face to be able to deliver messages, but having to be very understanding. And Saturn is going to require us to take accountability. So, anything down to disclaimers. And I would highly advise any YouTuber that works in the spiritual community at this point in time is due to the fact Saturn will be there. There can be new laws that come up for individuals of our nature. Okay. So what would I say? Place disclaimers in your videos. Be cautious of the guidance that you're giving people because there can be implications. And so that's another kind of fine line that we're walking along at the moment. We are going to need spiritual gurus for the next 18 months through to 2025. So treat those energies and those channels extremely well because it will be something that will be deeply needed due to the fact for the next 6 months. Roughly, we're going to have placements in Aries. Once we move to mid-year, the North Node is moving to Aries. What does that mean? Okay, Chiron, the wounded healer, is where each of us individually have wounds. It's also Mars energy, the planet of war. So to have that spiritual support to help us actually have the strength to deal with affairs, to deal with blockages that we have coming up. Pisces can feel like we are isolated. It can feel like we want to be part of a group, we can't be. And that subconsciously, we within wounds will isolate ourselves, which becomes a 12th house of imprisonment. So we need to have that self-awareness happening this year so that we empathize, we understand, but we realize that we will need therapists, we will need coaches, we will need to heal because suddenly it becomes our own problem. Why is that? Because going from the 12th house, it's like the Fool card in Tarot, to the edge of a cliff and jumping off. If you haven't got your backpack with all your tools, it can feel like a drastic awakening. You can get very aggressive, you can get very upset, you can be petrified. It can cause conflict. It's going to prevent you from gaining the opportunities that the astrology is actually giving you. Because what we may see, especially if you go to the website and you have a look at a couple of the posts that I've covered to do with the nodes, to do with astrology, we're having to find ways individually we can be accountable, and that, to date at this point, We really have felt quite disabled to a point we've had to depend on systems. And at the moment, the astrology is showing systems will break down to be rebuilt up. So, can you particularly totally just and should you depend on that? No, because the first house it's the house of self, it's the house of what can I do to make my situation better within my work, within my money, within my relationships? And so that's a scary thing because we psychologically tend to believe the other person in the situation has more power than we do, but it's a two-sided transaction. So for a lot of us, if we have been codependent to a degree and suddenly we're stripped naked and we're having to address these things, a lot of triggers are going to come up. So we are seeing a little bit of March. March, we are going to be having Pluto moving to the critical degree. And it does move very quickly. Now, in the long run, it's going to be a break. But because it's moving to 29 degrees, in March, we're feeling the energy now. It's deemed in astrology as the critical degree point, so it's going to look messy, and we're already seeing it. Pluto can link to, depending on the country it's in, America's currently having a Pluto return, and I believe we're going to have one, so yay for us, right? For those of you that don't know, I'm in Australia. So I will be this year, if time permits and destiny permits for me to remain, because universe has its own ideas for all of us. The 29 degree point, being the critical degree, can look messy. You think Pluto has been sitting there for 20 odd years. That's a long time. And suddenly it's shifting into another sign. So we're going to get two polarities. So within about 10 minutes, it moves from 29, which when you're looking at astrology, it's like a cycle, right? So it goes from 0 all the way to 29. When it gets to 29, it's wrapping shit up. And it's like an alarm. And if you haven't got your backpack and you haven't dealt with all that energy, it's quite karmic. And believe me, I'm already saying it in my own personal life. There are struggles that are going to happen in that location. Okay? And those struggles can be very upsetting. They can be very karmic. It can create diabolical uncertainty. It could relieve some of the stress as well. Then we move from Pluto in Capricorn, temporarily, it's not happening right away, over to 0 degrees Aquarius. Aquarius can relate to a few things, okay? It's technology. It is deemed as a rebellious energy. Not always, but at times. It's the water bearer. Trying to trust our intuition during all this water energy that will come. Well, it's not water energy, it's air energy. We're going to have to trust our instincts, and that can be really, really difficult. Now, last year, it was problematic because we had a lot of squares. Uranus and Taurus was causing issues with several locations. What should I say? Agriculture, money, banking systems. So it's a little bit like you're walking on a tightrope and you're like, I can see this great idea over here, but this is my foundation. And Taurus actually is very used to building a pyramid. So they will purchase things that last a lifetime. They can be frugal, but they have the best quality things because it's going to last for a long time. And they're used to creating stability. Now, you add Taurus into the mix with Uranus and Taurus, and that is impossible. Then you add a square to that and you want to rip your bloody hair out. Okay, so I can empathize with everybody in the world feeling deeply frustrated. This Leo moon did bring that again, which can mean, again, it's a full moon. So your home, your identity, your belief systems, your view of where you were going, Could there be ego? Could there be fights in family and tension and frustration? Yes, because Mars is in Gemini. So socializing, we need to, as people that maybe understand or listen to channels like me, have that self-awareness when you're going out. I am seeing a lot of aggression. I'm definitely seeing a lot of fear-based frequency. There can be psychic downloads, but we're still swimming that wave and watching things unpack. And it can be testing. Saturn during March also is going to be shifting signs out of where it currently is into Pisces. Now, Pisces, I'm like, Jesus, take them all. The highest octane is Saturn tends to show you how to use your time. It is structures, it is routine, it is systems you have to work in. It can be quite rigid, okay? It's rules and regulations. Saturn moving into Pisces, which is, it's our dreams. We're thinking of all these things and we're like, good grief, how am I going to get from point A to point B? Now, the highest octane of it is it will show you what sacrifices and hard work you need to make in order for that personal dream to come true. Okay? Which means it can come true. But on the lower octane, not all of us have the psychological capacity to move beyond the wound because Jupiter will be in Aries. Now, Jupiter means, what are you going to do about it? Jupiter is zealous. Jupiter did go through a bit of a trend a couple of years ago when it was in the South Node. And you know, what it did teach us collectively is not running in where fools fair to tread, but making realistic systems to actually, commit to a goal, but follow through with that goal to gain the success. So we're lucky we had that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can apply it with more emotional intelligence. But we also have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Pisces. No, it was in Pisces initially. It's in Aries. And when we did have Chiron in Pisces, I had, through my coaching, a lot of people falling back into old habits because 12th house can be habits, addictions, using things to cope with stress. Now, on the highest level, it's sometimes the crappy situation is where the problem is where the solution is. And it's hard because, we can tend to, in a humanistic pattern, go, I'm going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to avoid that. It's a little bit like you've burnt your hand on a stove and you say to yourself, well, I'm never going to touch the stove again. And it's like, well, you're going to eat raw tuna? Cool. Okay, go for gold. It's like avoidance it can't be done forever. And so whatever you've avoided, Aries and Chiron has been sitting there for a while. Now it's going to be like it's amplified. And I'm not looking forward to this. So Jupiter's expanding it. We can be a bit cocky, egotistical and arrogant. We're going to be humbled. We definitely are, but it is beneficial too. There's always higher and lower. Chiron, the wounded healer, is going to show you, and you'll be able to, if you go onto astroseek.com and type in birth charts, you will be able to put your birth date, your name. You don't have to really, but put your name in. And put your time of birth in. If you don't know, you can go to an astrologer and they can mathematically do your birth chart where when they look at the degree points, they can calculate roughly in the hemisphere you were born, what time frame it is, the degree points within your chart, roughly closest to the point, especially if they ask you personal questions, they can dictate when you were born. Now, if you want a base level, at a very basic level, I would put 12 or unknown to get a very basic level of potentially, but it does shift it. But yet again, you can still look at it that way. Now, wherever you have Aries in your chart, you need to pay attention. The pressure points are going to come up there. The expansion also is going to come up in there. And you can have lady luck in those areas if you challenge your demons. How many of you have had some demons come up? And I'm looking at it and there's 15 people and there's 5 likes. If you think this video is going to be helpful to somebody, smash that like button, because they're probably going to need it for a little bit of guidance, because people really are needing to have it so they don't feel they're going crazy, personally speaking. So wherever you feel that wound is and you've been avoiding and you're like, I don't really want to deal with that. It's like the bell's calling. I heard one astrologer say, you know, we had Mars retrograde, so I was waiting to March. What a worse bloody time to do things. Have you ever tried to, for about 7 months, you know, just going, oh, you know, everything's going direct around that time, so I'll just deal with it then. Would you put your life on hold for 8 months and leave your homework for then? Your school teacher's going to kick your ass. You know that, right? So that's the silliest thing I have ever heard. I was like, stuff that. You can change direction. You can shift. You can shift the way you are addressing things. You can even change your bloody mind, but not doing anything at all, even through a very adverse transit. Mars was making us bloody tired, okay? Mars was making us friggin' tired. It doesn't mean don't do something each day. It means bite off small chews, okay? Whatever you're wanting to address, take bite-sized pieces and address it gradually. Chip away at that situation. If it's coaching, if it's going to a guru, if it's going to an astrologer, me, other person, don't care, your call. That is going to help you. Knowing what can come up means when it crops up, don't run from it. Breathe and say, what have I not tried before? Okay, so it's like baking the cake the same way. Same shit gonna happen, right? Taking a breath and going, how can I look at this differently and how can I address it differently? So it's a process of elimination. The other thing I can say is become present. Become present where you can physically say, I may not be able to control what I'm seeing happening out in the world, but my world right now, with my feet on the ground and being present, is the only world just for 5 that exists. Sometimes we need to come back to the now. Can collective energy shift vibrations of situations happening around the world? Science has actually shown such. Why do I say that? If you research the Schumann resonance, it is a vibration. So effectively, the magnetic field on the planet has changed, where we used to actually get grounded. We don't tend to these days. We can use magnetic therapy in our beds. We can use grounding where it comes to taking your shoes off. And I do find these days I very rarely wear shoes, probably because I'm always anchoring my bloody energy in. And I do readings and I'm an energy worker. So I've learnt as a child to this point how to work with energy. Okay. So taking your shoes off, connect with the earth. Listen to your senses with the environment. It's going to instinctually tell you something. You know, the worst thing we actually have a habit of is getting too involved in things and not being present. So sometimes it's necessary to meditate. And is that meaning music? No. It is meaning complete silence, maybe going out in the garden, taking a breath, taking a break from your problems and going and doing something and connecting to the earth. And as you are detaching and letting go, sometimes problems actually start solving themselves, or you will be able to hear how you personally feel so you can give yourself a break. So March, some of the energy we are currently seeing right now, it's probably going to be heavier as we get there. After we shift through March, protect us all. Interesting, very interesting. Necessary, but interesting. Scary, but interesting. We're then moving into April. I can say we do not have a total lunar eclipse from my memory until 2025. That's huge. We also do not have Juno, the marriage asteroid, relating to all feminine energies and Venus related dynamics and marriages in retrograde this year. However, it is shifting signs. Okay. The other thing I can say is it is going to be an eclipse in Aries. We haven't even moved the nodes there yet, and we are having an eclipse in Aries. Okay, so we're having several Aries modes, eclipse and non-eclipse, and the nodes will be moving there. So we're getting the mini downloads, shifts, changes. Mars will move also out of Gemini. I don't know how I feel about that one either. Okay. Mars in Gemini can make us, it has gone direct, so we need to be very careful how we deal with socialization, driving our cars, our throat chakra, our attitudes and empathy towards others, our eating. We're going to emotional eat. We're going to go on food and off food. If you're feeling aggressive, generally speaking, within astrology and our chakras, and depending on what's in your chart and where it's hit, your seventh house, for instance, can be your Venus organs, but it also can be that you can use crystals to guide it. You don't want to use, if you're aggravated, don't wear red. Okay? Don't wear red. You can use citrine to detox you if you're feeling you need a detox and there's blockages coming through in your base chakra. I've started drinking mint to detox, the body, to give the body detox. The other thing is, keep away from orange and red food groups. And it's just for a little bit. It's not forever. It's like, okay, if you're volatile, remove those. So it can be meats, orange, yellows, the color as well, certain aromas, and be aware of your energy. So it's like, okay, I've got red going on, I'm aggressive, remove yourself from that vibration and remove yourself from those energies. Also exercise, because what it can actually be, and we can be a little bit more accident prone because Mars in Gemini is rushing. Be careful chewing your food. Be mindful when you're breathing. So it's breath work. It's eating your food slowly. It's being conscious. Also, if you're chucking a text message and you're shitty at someone, my practice is type it. Sit back for 10 minutes. Read it. Do you think the delivery of it is going to work? Is that person even going to register? If we have the whole planet where everyone's pissed off, when someone's angry, there's a term that was said to me years ago, in vino veritas, which means in wine there is truth. And, it's like sometimes we can't retract these sentences we say, and we go out and say them, and we're really going to regret it. So it's be mindful. Sometimes it's that a person isn't as ascended, woke as maybe you are. And so sometimes it's pointless even articulating it. So you've got to pick your battles, so to speak. So knowing what zodiac sign you are, where those placements are, is going to be important. We are having Venus retrograde in Leo this year, so keep an eye on this Leo moon. Leo, for me in Western Australia, will be moving out by tomorrow, and it's shifting into Virgo. So after the next few days, I just want to FYI you, depending on when you drop on this video, we could be very critical on ourselves. It can be to do with, Virgo can relate to Chiron, which is in the hands, and it's the higher heart chakra. So looking after your heart chakra, always getting something checked if you feel something's off. Not going to extremes, not to be critical of yourself, self-care. It's good health, good nutrition, wellness. We could, in the media, maybe have nurses coming up in the media. It could be something to do with Turkey or other countries. But again, you could want to all of a sudden over the next 3 days after tomorrow want to clean your bloody houses, and you're going to be very agitated. You could get, if you've got children, be patient, be in the awareness of it. You could get very moody because the moon's going to transit Virgo. So self-care. Where are the pressure points? Is it that you haven't completed tasks? Pull them down to bite-sized chews. Write it down on a piece of paper and go, oh my God, I feel overwhelmed. Okay, well, guess what? We're going to break it down. You're going to write it down on a piece of paper. You're going to say, okay, I have committed to addressing the Saturnian things I need to address, or the changes I want to make, in very bite-sized pieces. And that first step you take, you are going to feel 100% better because you have started. Okay. And the good thing about Virgo is it's great for analytics. It is not good for getting up in your head. So if you don't use that energy on something, you are going to become agitated. You are going to attack other people, and you are going to feel very insecure. Mars in Gemini leaves in March. But until then, within any relationship, we are going to be grumpy. We are going to be hot and cold and up and down like a bloody yo-yo. Codependent energy and neediness inside of any connection, be it's with your mother, your father, your boss, is not going to work. Mars also during a retrograde has been shown in astrology that if somebody starts a dispute against you, it usually does not go in their favour. So the attackee, so to speak, generally loses. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with conflict while Mars is in Gemini. Pick your battles and don't go into conflict. Avoid it if possible, but intellectually try and keep your cool till we move out of that. And look after yourselves as we do move into Mars in Cancer. Feminines will have to look after their safety this year. It is in the astrology, and it's always wise to be in awareness of that. The South Node will be going into Libra, and the North Node will be going into Aries. And so it's quite funny, to a degree. We usually find that we move to the North Node so that we can have changes that are happening in the South Node. And it's almost like a battle of the sexes. It could be deemed as, but technically we could deem ourselves as asexual. It's that we are masculine and feminine. So inside of feminine's lives, for instance, we're going to have to find our inner masculine within our own personal lives, not in the relationship. There can't be two masculines in any relationship. Because there's an empath and there's the doer and the feeler, you get my gist. So inadvertently, we are going to have different relationships. We are going to move towards Aries of personally in each country, in each person's life, looking at what we can do, and that will directly transform the energy of the Venus energy of money, wealth, feminine energy. Masculine has decided to stay. Nothing will remain that way. I do the twin flames on Friday. From a twin flame point of view, masculines have been in the 12th house when you go to the first house of Aries, which is going to affect masculine's astrology. All masculines. Hi, Ben. My phone's about to go flat, so I'm going to probably have to go and get my bloody battery. The North Node is where they have a revelation of, am I hiding in a karmic relationship? So you have no attachment. You can't lose a twin. It's a soul contract, but I can guarantee whoever, and that's another thing, whoever is on my books for readings, you're going to get to have readings with me permanently, because I will be building the education content out. Next year, I have no idea. Right now, I'm saying anyone who does make it into the booking system, no matter where I am, what I'm doing, you will permanently become clients to me. because I am shifting my energy onto YouTube as education. So this year, bookings will be open. I'm unsure about next year. So if you are on my books and you've booked a reading, you will permanently be able to receive, you will become a permanent client. You understand what I'm saying? So say you say in 6 months next year, you want a booking, you're on the books. Cool, no drama. But it may not be open to the public, okay, unless I'm doing super chats on YouTube, because there are other things I'm actually addressing as well. Oh God, I hate flying cockroaches. I'm telling you, Neptune and Pisces is bringing the big boys out. I do not like them. You can throw a snake at me, you can throw a spider at me, but a flying cockroach, me and cockroaches don't gel. We're not friends. I don't like them, and I'm in Australia. I just don't like them. What about you, Ben? I saw this video, I think it was on TikTok, and it was a snake on an Australian fence, and there were two magpies jumping down, attacking it. I'm like, the poor bugger, like only in Australia. It's like this poor bugger was screwed. He was like one side, one the other. It was like, yeah, down under, mate. It's not common. I just want to say I got attacked more by snakes in Cyprus than I have in Australia. Touch wood. I have seen snakes there. You keep your grass short, let's put it that way. Yes. So, any questions in the house? But yes, astrologically. So, a lot of twins separately to the current astrology I'm mentioning, because, you know, this channel will be about education, psychic energy, astrology. It's not one genre. It is covering all bases. I have those skills. It is a total waste of my time to only focus on one energy because we have problems in each area. So I'm covering each. But energetically, what we can see from a twin flame path perspective is that with the North Node moving into Aries, it's where they finally choose for themselves, which will not have any connotation to a karmic relationship. It will be personal for themselves. It's the place of liberation, but it's also where they learn a first and a seventh house truth of what have my previous relationships been, you know? So big changes. Do we want to keep talking, or are you sick of me? I'll have to get the bloody charger because it's dying. Twins in bed asleep. He's like, whatever, Yildiz. I was going to come live yesterday, but I went down the rabbit hole with Giggle, and I told her I literally have to get to a point I turn them into a bloody podcast, because a lot of the downloads we were having, you know, the woke therapist and I, we talked, a lovely woman, very psychic as well, has the spiritual background to coach people. You know, Giggle also, we unpack things. I do the coaching groups and in the members as well to give them a lot, you know, of updates. So I used to do this all the time. Last night, went to bed 1 o'clock in the morning, and I mean, I was talking, but I was like, okay, is it ripe? Especially with my transits, I'm very cautious not to bring negative vibrations onto YouTube. I'm very, very cautious. You know, maybe that's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily feel it aids the collective. You get my vibe? So you can probably look at the couch for 2.5. Hope to God the bloody video doesn't die, and I'll go get my bloody charger, eh? So, how's the couch looking? Is it really attractive? Pretty darn boring, eh? Oh, the things we do. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, unedited. This is like the unedited, uncensored version of Yildiz Readings 5D. And I'll probably have to turn you guys on the side. Shit. Bear with me. So the last few days, it's been deadly cold. And no, it's been really hot. And then all of a sudden, and I went Uranus and Taurus, something's brewing. You can generally tell by the change in the Mercury that something's afloat. It's called listen. So how you doing, Jan? How you doing, my lovely? Bloody changes in the country and the world, eh? You know, the good old days yesterday is that I would come live and I was just me. Right? I was just a normal Joe blog, have a smoke, have a chat, talk shit. And of course, then it was let's be polite. Let's conform, let's behave. And it's like, shit. I have a question. Which perennial should I listen to before bed? It depends on what you're really dealing with. I mean, you know, I'll give you an example. It's crazy. When you vibe, for instance, with somebody that is a reader, for instance, and I've had clients tell me this, Yildiz, we fall asleep to your vibe. What your energy will be is you will vibrate with the tribe, right? So if you found a channel, an astrologer that you really vibe with, turn on your zodiac sign and instantly you'll fall asleep because your soul energy is linked to them in a spiritual way. And 90% of the time, my clients have said, oh, we were listening to your video and we fell asleep. Why? Because it's almost like whoever that soul resonates with you in a spiritual way, it will calm you to a degree and your anxiousness will drop. You can listen to Earth Hurts. I'll try and share a gentleman who's very good. He is an astrologer. He's got a beautiful vibration, but he does a lot of meditations. And he is hosting, I believe, some moon energy updates. I'll have to find it and I'll share it in the community. Which I used to do meditation, but again, we just kept getting flags. So it's like, it doesn't motivate us to do the creative content that we want to do. I started doing guided meditation, which I host on the website. But then it was, oh, well, that image and this image, I refuse to use Pixabay anymore. The only thing I use for any of my content is Canva, okay? Because it's just less red tape and you just got to stay in your lane or you can't provide content. So perennial beats, it depends on what is going on with you. So is it necessary all the time? Not necessarily. Sometimes there's a space where you can just tune out. If it's a blockage in a chakra, that's a different thing. I would never advise anybody to do the 7 chakras. Worst thing you can do. You will have a massive purge. You should never, and I don't know who ever thought that was a good idea. It is like opening up. You got to remember when we're doing guided meditation, for instance, in a chakra, theoretically, we have blocks in every chakra, even when we're ascending. And if you open them all up, that's like opening up a bunch of Chiron wounds. You do not do that. And it's like Kundalini yoga. You know, many people have an awakening because they maybe have an accident or, which is a video I'm creating at the moment. If you haven't noticed, I've been uploading shorts. And that's to cover the basis of my wisdom-based energy of what I haven't been able to give you, but to provide them in shorts at this point to hold you over until I create it. So Kundalini activation, that can happen through yoga, but if you move it too aggressively, it is the same. It's you're opening up the serpent energy and the wounds, and it can be very violent. So, you know, let nature take its course. If you feel there's something that you're guided to do, what I would do is Earth Hurts at this point. That's probably the simplest. It's going to really lull you. Anything earth hurts. Perennial beats point blank is okay. Hi, Dawn. How you doing, doll? Inside timer. Yeah, whoever you're trusting, Ben, it's not wrong. Your soul will guide you to the correct vibe, to the correct thing. The other thing I had been saying spiritually is, with awakenings, with healing, with spirituality, there's no quick fix. Sometimes what it can do, Zach, is open up. Usually what I do find with the readings is, depending on if you're watching a video or you're booking a reading with me, with my coaching sessions and my readings, I tend to find where the block is. And you can ask a couple of people in the house what that is, the ones that I coach. Sometimes for them, it is a bit of pill to swallow, but they have breakthroughs. Aleonix. It's like, oh, shit, and we're human. It's not bad that we have blocks. It's sometimes we don't know. And then we're like, oh, heck. And the penny drops. And that's when we have our breakthroughs. Yeah. Yeah, look, guides are always with us. They're always spiritually with us. Sometimes they do back off because they feel we're ready for the next stage. So they kind of come in, and sometimes it can feel they've left us. And it's like, no, they haven't left you. It's actually a compliment. It makes they feel you're ready for a next stage in your ascension. So it's like, just go with it, you know what I mean? I wonder if I'm like trying to look at where I could balance this. I'm like thinking, I don't know where to put you. Glad to catch you live unexpected. Oh, girl, I did not sleep last night, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Twin rang me this morning and he's like, are you up yet, woman? Like, I usually wake up at 3. I'm early riser. It's go, go, go. I'm a bit ADHD. Less is more. This will probably echo like crap, but I'm having to create a pace. Hallelujah. So it was like, I was going to come live yesterday. But I went down the rabbit hole. We had some revelations. I was talking to another individual that talks to a channel that I have, a lady I speak to, Marlo, big shout out, girl. Are we enjoying the ascension path and guiding right now? So I just didn't come live. I was like, have I in my ascension gone up and down? Yeah, 100% I have. I'm human. But I'm in my awareness of it. I'm being cautious of it. I'm like, you check yourself. 2023 with Saturn and Pisces will bring up subjects to do with religion. And what we have to understand is it's all the same, okay? But we all have to love each other for whatever we believe. Otherwise, we collectively will see issues. It's written. Ascension symptoms are crazy. My clients right now. And you're a gem, doll, so you're doing really well. Be proud of yourself. All of you guys be really proud of yourself. It's very tough at the moment. It's very tough. It's a tough one. So yeah, there'll be a lot changing. Again, even the Pope passing, it was in the Astrology. Yeah, very different. It was a very unique energy, really, on this occasion. Will be an interesting one to fill that void. But yes, we will see changes in every country, changes in every one of our lives. Definitely I can see an attitude change with me, and it's coming down to, look, anywhere down to how we deal with gardening and food and resources, vibrations, taking time for self, having to make accountable decisions. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, I mean, my first memory was with me as a twin flame, and the understanding back then of what I saw was the first wave is I actually here for, I would say the age of Aquarius. Let's put it in kind of layman's terms of a wrap up neatly without any tagging as per se, for a great change to anchor the energy in. Yeah. Can you see my crow message above you? I surely can. That's pretty unique, eh? Can you see my water, Ben? Take a guess. Is it water? Yes. We will see the tried and true. We will see, look, I'll be honest with you. Some of you will actually feel very disillusioned with certain channels. Yeah. So how you been, Ben? How you progressing? How is Bub? How is Bub on the way? My daughter's been having issues with her, so praise to her. Yes, interesting. Mars and Gemini can be children, it can be schooling, it can be shopping centres, pubs, attitudes, communication, social media. I definitely know that Facebook, for instance, has things going on. My phone had to be reset several times. I was like this because we have Uranus, which is relating to the intranet. We have Mars and Gemini, which is relating to the internet. And we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, the internet. It was like, geez. It wasn't until those planets came close to moving direct, and it's just been a shit show ever since. And it was like, it was like the North Node in Gemini for 2 years. It was like, yeah, that wasn't fun, was it? It was like a Mercury retrograde for 2 years. No, I was like, yeah, great, let's do this. Let's stay on YouTube and grow. It's not going to happen. Even this year, I was talking to a couple of clients this morning, and social media has been changing since the Great Conjunction. We had the influx of a lot of people on social media. We then had the North Node in Gemini. Again, the influx of more people on social media and everyone with their opinions, and changes obviously with the traffic lights of what we could and couldn't do. And hats off to the social media. The astrology's been kicking their butts. So as much as we can get frustrated with them, I also know from a astrology point of view, it was all there in writing that the drama was going to be there. So it's almost like you're arguing to a transit. I mean, get miserable with it and go, oh, that wave looks great. Let's hang out with that for a while. And now we have Saturn moving into Pisces, which is to do with spiritual gurus. And it's like, so do we tap out? We know people are going to need us, but, and it will come down to coaches. It will come down to tarot readers, astrologers, spiritualists, gurus. It's not just one genre. It also can be, Avatar was created during the Pisces energy, the previous Avatar, so it's back again. What else was? Maduri, which looks like the absinthe drinker. It was created, and Saturn in Pisces can relate to alcohol, can relate to psychedelics. So we will see those subjects coming up. And I don't promote it. Like I said, it is. Look, could we have things to do with science and space? 100%. Asteroids, comets, 100%. The thing that came to mind a few times, and I've been thinking this for a few weeks lately, sometimes what we're looking for is right under our nose. And it's funny because we're always looking for aliens. I think we'd be bloody idiots to think there's nothing out there, that it was just something. Organisms and everything is interlinked. I've seen things. Regardless, I really don't care. The point is, sometimes things can be directly under our nose and we're not seeing it. I mean, who's to say we're not on a planet that is not, we went through a stage in astrology and in society where it was like the world's flat. And then it was round. So I would never be in enough ego to turn around and say, I know what things are. We have to, in society, be open-minded, or we'll miss things under our nose. So I never presume these days. I take things as a given, but I'm open-minded that it could be wrong. Because I think that's a healthy way to approach life. To not presume, because, I'm not Gaia Source. I'm a human having a humanistic, I'm a spirit having a humanistic experience. And the less ego you can have, the better you're going to be. And usually when we're projecting, we have a high expectation for ourselves. So it's about us. It's not about the person we're projecting at. That's the reason I can't be bothered with arguments. I'm like, have fun with that. How many people have had arguments this week? Hands up. Come on, admit it. You know you have. How many of you have got angry at your mother, brother, sister, father, partner? How many have lost your shit? How many have gone, I'm tapping out, I'm going to another planet? There you go. You bad boy. Ben! Don't worry, I've been a bitch lately too. Oh, God. I can't say I have been. I have been in awareness of the frustrations and been trying to articulate very effectively. And it's like, okay, clearly we're not listening. Like the other planet. Yeah, it's like, okay, but you know what? It's like we can't hide. And I remember saying to my person, I step away from tags. You want to tag my twin? I have a spiritual connection with this person. I just believed I was psychic. It is what it is. I don't need the tag. From our energy, I remember saying to him, can we please get this right on this occasion? Because damn straight, I ain't coming back and doing the same thing again. And he looked at me like, yeah, man, we're going to get this right. So believe me, they go through what we go through. It's like, can we just get this right? Let's just get it right. Let's just not run from ourselves anymore. Let's just be very present and unafraid and face things. Best method. Confront it. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to don't walk on eggshells. I'd say that. Don't walk on eggshells. Choose your timing if you have to, but address things. Yeah, it's like you just get tired. Run a chaser mode, screw that. No, too tired. I'm like, okay, you're on your way, cool, pina colada, see you soon. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And it will be, because you can't get rid of them. No, it's not you can't get rid of them. You have a soul contract, so until you complete that, when you hear in layman's terms, you can choose anyone. It is true. But until you complete your soul contract of healing, both of yous ain't going nowhere. Even if there is a big gap, you're sure to make contact again because you have unfinished business. You're there to teach and grow each other, to tell each other home truths. It's not control, though. It has nothing to do with control. Control is fair. Pretty much. Yeah, but you're still in communication, Dawn, so technically not. You're just learning it in a different way. It's more than likely because of a past life and maybe what you did to them. You were probably the one in the relationship, and so now you're having to stomach it. When I looked at my birth chart, I cried and laughed because what it showed was that a lot of things that had happened to me via this individual, I had actually done to them in a past life. And I was like, this was your karma. You were a cow. Look at where your North Node is. Look at where your Venus is. And sometimes look at where your Juno is. But I'd say North Node, South Node. I'd also say look at your... looking to Jupiter for marriage. I mean, Jupiter in Aries is we're having a marriage with ourselves initially, which is reconnecting to ourselves. and then Jupiter moves into Taurus and we can see harmony. We're in a portal energy now, would you say? We're in a portal energy. We always are, but what we have to understand is we can jump. So where you are is not where I am. Where I am is not where you are. You can be 20 steps ahead of me. You could be 20 steps backwards. But it's not a competition. Do you get what I say? So at a collective level, we're in a timeline of addressing spiritual energy, of addressing changes that are required in society, changes in the way we interact with each other, changes in equality in society. You know, Pluto in Aquarius is power to the people, but it's also taking it away too. So it'll look ugly before it looks fair. We could have people getting very shitty. We could have people, I mean, you look back, go to the website, look at the dates that are provided, and you can literally type in, I believe it's 1983, 1984, and look for history in 1983, 1984, and get ready for it happening again. So, earthquakes, possible. People are saying a lot of water. I actually don't feel so. I'll have to keep looking, but I'm really feeling fire. Because Jupiter will be there. We have Neptune and we have Saturn. Potential water coming from those because they both have Pisces in them. Other transits circling it can be, but Jupiter is fire. So if anything, Saturn restricts, we can have water issues coming up. That doesn't mean there will be lots of water. It could be if maybe ice is melting, but it could be more cleanliness of water, fish, farming, rules around that. You know, maybe, you know, rules coming in where they're saying, okay, you can have this substance. We're going to legalize it in small amounts because Saturn is small. It's quite minimal. It's like, yeah, we'll give you a little olive leaf. You'll have about that, but it'll hold you over. There can be remedies relating to it. So we potentially could see that also where, you know, the medicinal side of life could come through. But it'll be legalised, so it won't be something that I'm talking about that, you know, is, how do I put it? It'll be something that they decide will be legalised, if you get what I'm saying, because it's astrologically based. I mean, Nelson Mandela with I Have a Dream, right? That was around that time too. There were airplane crashes. There were earthquakes. There was riots. There was people's rights and people voting, you know, that were of ethnic colour. So these subjects are going to come back up again. Certain countries are going to have different subjects coming up. Australia and England may break, you know, in a sense where we become a separate energy. Could that happen right away? I think more so later down the track, but inevitably it's going to happen in some shape or form. It's astrologically based. Equality to the people of the country, 100% that's coming up. There goes Bilby again. No drama, mate. He tried to eat my chicken food the other day. Anyhow, any other questions? This is my Aussie buddy. Do you want to see my Aussie friend? Hey, dude. What are you doing? My cat so wants to play with it. And I'm like, you know, nighttime, you're in the house, girl. So this is, the owner of the house calls him Tractor. It's a she, but it's called Tractor. She loves to dig up my lawn. Don't you, girl? It's not a rat. It's a marsupial. It looks like a rat. It's not a rat. It's a marsupial. She's pregnant too. Yeah, it's okay. Eat the chicken food. No, get out of it. I've been seeing... yeah. My cat was sitting next to Twin and I was like, just hug her, doll. Hug her. I've got to get her quick. Because as soon as she sees it, she's like... Are you a chicken? Are you a cat? Are you a dog? Should we play? No, you're going inside. Yeah, no. I've got to protect the wildlife. Another thing we'll have is fish, subjects to do with fish. Could there be shortages with it? Maybe. Maybe. Anything Pisces related, but Jupiter will be expanded. So oil, metal, changes with the police maybe, but the metal industry definitely. What else? Changes with homes. I don't necessarily see that as a good thing at this point. It could be a little bit harder before it gets better. But it's like, being unwell and then you're recovering. Things take time and we have to understand this. The other thing is sometimes through adversity comes people pulling together. So the things that we see that may happen over the next 18 months may be necessary for us to empathise with other cultures and countries so that we can actually rally together as an Aquarian team. So sometimes something bad has to happen to bring people together. Unfriggin' fortunately. Why? Because we're an interesting race. Because we see differences instead of seeing connections. And that's just the way it's been for centuries. And we need to stop doing that. It's the biggest problem. You're different to me. Yes, we are. That's okay. When you have dreams about people, is it just your energy working? Not always, because sometimes they can be thinking of you. Look, a karmic, you can have a karmic entering your dream. At the moment, because we have Pluto transiting out as a karmic ending. So, and it's not total because technically it's got moving back into Capricorn. So it's the underrealm. It's Pluto to a degree. I mean, Turkey, for instance, has their Uranus in Pisces and Venus is there, which is land and the underground, which is what's happened. It's Pisces. It's turbulent. Plus, I believe they have lots of placements in Libra. And, yeah, their Pluto energy wasn't too good. We need to... Yeah. Although I remember having a dream years ago which looked like the United Nations, and it was, psychically I was seeing it, and it was like Knights of the Round Table. There you go, Giggle, there's your download. And I literally saw every country connected. And technically speaking, what has happened globally is affecting all of us. So what is the difference really? What affects you in America affects me in Australia. So we inadvertently do we can have a sense of separateness, but it's actually not because we are connected across the world and what is happening to you is affecting us. So, yeah, it affects everyone. It's not one person, it's everyone. In New Zealand had floods. I tend to try to connect to those individuals at different parts, especially my clients. It's like, okay, are you okay? Just a human check, are you okay? Is everything going well? So, what else have we been doing? Anything else before I love you and leave you? Are you still in the house, Ben? Have you been having fun? Have we seen the shorts? Have we even noticed the shorts? I'm testing them out. Bringing some education. Your hair. I'm happy. How is your family? Shout out to those of you in New Zealand. Shout out to those of you in China, in Turkey, in Russia, wherever you are, okay? Wherever you are, because everything is affecting us all at the moment. Yes, I watched the shorts. Were they helpful? Oh, cool. It's like, okay, how do I compile some information and hand you something in a quick format? Oh, bless. Yeah, well, twin cut his hand, so he's had to have stitches. try and address that. Other things going on, dental things going on, transitions and changes like we're all having. Daughter's unwell. That drama's been going on with her pregnancy, so she's having issues with that. Not good. What a dawn, right? Am I blind at the moment? I tell you, I need my glasses. See? I'm like, huh? I don't think so. Yeah, well, I have started canning again. I have found that I have about 20 tomato plants in my garden. And like food always tastes better when you grow it yourself, especially when it's organic and it means it's clean. So I ended up making 3 jars of chutney. It was Pinot chutney. Waste not, want not. I have chickens. They eat a lot of the food scraps we have, so it doesn't go into landfill. What else? I made pasta sauces. Did some research years ago when I was living on a farm in Europe, which I lived in Cyprus for 3 years. My father was born there, so we went to visit his family. I was born in New Zealand. So we went over there, and I did learn a lot about farming, culture, cooking, and it was really good because my grandmother was a very old school energy, and she taught me the land medicine. So it was cooking, medicine, food preparation, how to cure things, how to make cheeses. So I have a lot of that background already, and I always was very intrigued by it because I feel, our food is really a depiction of culture and it takes us like on a holiday, so to speak. So it's a little bit like eat, pray, love. You're having that vibration and it's almost like you're there. So I went back down the rabbit hole of canning. And so you can use the cans that you have, that you already have in your home, and they can use as a second use, but sterilize them. And you can do the jar submersion in the water and prepare them, which I've been doing. But anything down to butter, I mean, it's simple things that we can do to actually bring that cost of living down. So it's things that maybe you buy in big tins, which was another idea, which I'd have to really do a little bit more research to see what are the benefits, what is the shelf life of taking something that's already preserved in a large tin and transferring it. So this lady on YouTube the other day actually was and has her food stores done, which, living on a farm, we used to have food stores because we would get paid monthly with the things that we would grow and provide to sell. So that was, we were in agriculture. And so getting paid monthly, you would buy monthly. You would have everything you needed. You didn't go to the shops every day. And so anything down to your jams, your cordials, your bread, everything was homemade. So the sourdough bread, our bread in, modern society, you're lucky if it lasts 2 to 3 days, especially with humidity. Why? Because it's got preservatives in it. It's not meant to last. Have you noticed a toaster in the ancient days? They would last 20 years. The toasters we buy now, everything, and that was something that really shat me the other day. It was like, is everything a bloody subscription? You get this, you get that. It's like we're on this Ferris wheel, and it's like we really need to do an audit of that and go, what's necessary? Can we bring this back down to basics? Are we actually driving that because we're kind of investing in it and saying, yeah, it's okay, that's acceptable? Or are we really pulling back and looking outside the box and going, okay, could we be the solution to some of these things? Could we go and create an app? Could we go and create a solution to a dynamic? I mean, the way we used to toast was in a kiln, so to speak, and it was on the gas or it was on an open fireplace. It was instant toast and it just tasted so much better. These days, all the technology we have, we're lucky if they last 12 months and we're going for another toaster. I mean, and we wonder why life is so expensive. So it's getting back to basics. It's looking at the practicality of even the smallest things and changes you make can bring you the most zen in your life. I have what I would deem as a luxury, and it's a coffee pod now and then. And that coffee pod, that that coffee can be used as an organic pesticide inside the garden. So it can be transitioned over. It doesn't have to be wasted. It's recycled and it's transferred and it's reused. I mean, we do have recyclable. I had a client years ago when I was nursing, and they had the refill coffee pods that you could put in coffee machines. So you can even purchase those. Yes. So I have been looking at canning. This lady was getting large cans and transferring her goods over. So she was actually taking applesauce, for instance, in a big container, sterilizing her jars, preparing it, doing the water submersion, which brings the seal down in the jar. And, that technically, if you have done the process correctly, that product can last for 5 years. If it's meats, generally it's a year. You'd probably want to go down the route of getting a pressure cooker. Otherwise, you could be sitting at the gas stove for about 3 hours to really make sure that that is sealed in, preserved correctly. And you'll know, I mean, you go through is the jar sealed? When it opens, does it pop? Does it smell okay? So it's the senses. It's using instincts with it. You get my gist? But butter, for instance, this gentleman had actually melted down lard, and he has 5 years worth of bloody butter in his pantry. And I was like, that's a great idea. Tired of going down the shop for that. I'm making my own oat milk at this point, and it's getting oats and it's bleeding them out, and it's eating fresh, reducing my milk content and actually moving towards, using natural products, which Libra is doing that anyway because they've got kind of our health aspects and Saturn there all at once. It's like, take accountability, Libra, get your health right. What other zodiacs do we have in the house? Gemini, you guys are just irritated at the moment. I love you, but you're going to be fine. Capricorn, you're going to have some freedom soon. Don't get caught in your head. Aries, you're going to realise, A, where you had parts in things, and B, other people had parts in things. And you could get scared at the moment, but you need to have confidence in yourself. Virgo, watch for Mercury retrograde. Look for your heart chakra. The other thing is, as an empath, you will need to learn to protect your energy. Not everything is about other people. You can't help people if you're going down too. So use your tools, use your wisdom. You as an empath, because you're Chiron energy and it links to Aries at the moment, things will go to extremes with you. Don't bite off more than you can chew. You can have changes coming up in your relationship sector, in your career. Nightmares can happen. I mean, you can be emotional in the next 3 days because the moon's transiting there. But I would say always watch for Mercury retrograde. It's always going to piss you off. Breathe. What other zodiacs do we have? I just looked up 1, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, Virgo. You guys have real big changes in your career. Yeah, energy is going to pick up. You're going to feel a bit better, but you can be more assertive with your relationships. So if somebody has been, this is a very Australian term, pulling the piss with you, you're not going to put up with it. You're just not. You're going to be like, what? To the left, to the left. But Venus is there at the moment, so you can feel very lovey-dovey and romantic. But you also need to dig deeper below the surface, because you'll know if your relationship's flowing. A, because you'll feel a very spiritual connection. B, you have to be careful not to be the empath junkie. Okay? It's I feel you. I sense you. It's going to make you sick. You need to know when to tune out of things. It's not your fault. Not everything is your problem. Nothing always needs to be fixed. You don't need to be perfect. And, it sucks to be a Virgo, honestly, because you're the most beautiful energies. You're the most intellectual energies. You have the highest expectations for yourselves, but you're super critical on yourselves. And it's only when life becomes burdened with people's BS that you blow your top. And so find the harmony between it. You know, if you need to get to a point, you say, look, this is what I need. Be okay with that and just totally detach, because empath energy can be like a poison. It can be like, I feel bad now. It's like, you're human, you have your own needs too. So obviously you intuitively know what the people want, but you also do need to. There's no I in team, but there's no team without the I. So if an aeroplane's going down, what does the air hostess say to you? You put your bloody mask on first. So Venus can be that you are feeling high vibe. You can feel super romantic at the moment. If you are meeting somebody new, don't put them on a pedestal, okay? Because Neptune will be like, I love you. And Venus will be like that too. But also, because Neptune's there, be realistic. Nobody's perfect, okay? But that Pisces energy, it's going to be like, there's a potential for your relationship to be great, okay? But there could be some steps and changes that you and a romantic partner, or you and your love life and you and your own healing is going through, so that can happen. I hope that makes sense. And if I offended anyone, I'm sorry. Mine is the size and the shape of a large refrigerator, but it is a freezer. How do we get into refrigerators? I'm telling you, Leonix's refrigerator is the best. And if you have a fridge, send me a photo and I will judge it. Because I am telling you, True Heart's fridge, did I say Leonix? True Heart's fridge is the best. That is a sexy refrigerator. It's a hot refrigerator. It has the glass doors. It's got the sensors on it. See, this is the good thing about me meeting my clients. We become friends. And she tapped her fridge and I was like, can you send it to me, please? I want your fridge. You know, you click and you're like, oh, I can see where the juice is. Mind you, she suffered for that. So hats off to her. Big congratulations. She's well deserving of it. She went without a refrigerator for months. A week to me is a month. Mind you, I lived on a farm, so yeah, I've been without power. I'm used to it. Anyway, how could you... Oof, I've been where you've been, so I empathise and love you for that. You're like, huh, you know, you see a fridge or you see a toilet, you're like, hallelujah. Oh, is that where it came from? I knew it was you, eh? Purging the freezer. Yeah, good time to check. Look, usually with Pluto, you want to check your use goods and the use by dates. Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn, so check your food use by dates. Look after your heart chakra. I don't even know what time it is. See, I'm talking shit now, so it must be tiring. I may need to go to bed. I can't believe we've got 18 in the house. You know, YouTube's on fire these days with that. There's billions of people on YouTube, but we get 20 views. It's not real. Yes. Anywho. 1 a.m. So, yeah. Oh, mate, I didn't go to bed till 1 a.m. last night. Yesterday. Well, this morning. Yeah. And now it's back to the next morning. So, technically yesterday morning. Now I sound like Sheldon on The Big Bang. Well, theoretically. Oh, God, that man cracks me up. Twin likes to watch The Big Bang regularly. I tell you, that thing is therapy. I look at him so many times for the devil. Right. That's you. How many of us know through watching The Big Bang, soft kitty? I mean, at least 10% should. Soft kitty, warm kitty. How many of you have heard that song? And as soon as you hear it, think about it. 20 years' time, you will know it was The Big Bang. Exactly. So bad. Yeah. Soft kitty. So I tease him and I sing it sometimes. It's like, piss off. He's the awkward one in the house that is difficult. You know why? Because he's Libra rising. I tell him that all the time. Okay, Libra. And I'm a Libra. I'm like, okay, Libra. I am not a Libra. So how many of you know your love interest or twin flame or partners zodiac sign? Do you know their rising? Because that's an interesting one. So have we enjoyed this evening? Unpacking, talking rubbish with Yildiz. I swear, what is the longest live I did? I've got to research that. I would probably, from 2017, I was probably coming on 4 times a day. Bitch, I didn't have a life. Any unpacking I had, I would download it and I would talk to you. Sometimes it was 3 in the morning. You got to understand, I'm actually in a union. I'm in a partnership. So I don't, you know, when you are on a path and when you are in life, point blank zero, you have to be present for a partnership. You have sleeping needs, okay? I went through ascension. I still go through ascension, but it's very different. So I have been developing my psychic gift since I was a child. So when I see things, I have had many, many, many confirmations, which sometimes I wish they weren't true, but it's true. Confirmations of psychically what I see. Providing you don't get all up in your grill at me and demand to have an answer that you're actually needing, not what I'm being shown. Then you're just going to hear what you want to hear. That's the truth. But generally, if I do psychically say something, I generally within 24 hours get a clarification that it's happened. And then separately, I also chose to study astrology. I don't even know if that's a sentence, because I wanted to know when the peaks and the waves were coming so I could dive under and be ready. So I provide that to you guys because I know it works and because I know the chakras associated, where it's going to hit you. And I do apply it to my own life so that when I am coaching people, I go, oh, I just want to give you a PDF. This, and this is a potential to happen. You might struggle against it initially. Like Aries and Libra are going to go through a massive change. Scorpio at the moment and Taurus, you guys are, due to the fact the nodes will be wrapping up that cycle, but the eclipses do happen at the end of the year as well. So this part of the year for you guys is tense with the revelations you can have. But Chris, you've got to remember what's in your chart because he is your mirror. Scorpio does not like surface value easy. Scorpio likes depth, okay? They don't like easy. They don't like, how can I explain it? They need intellectual stimulation. They're very intuitive. They can feel your vibe. So sometimes they're more aware of even what you are. Yes. Your Pisces with Libra rising. Oh, heck, you're going to have fun this year. As a divine feminine, as a person who has been a psychic medium and who has moved through awakening, psychic attacks, seeing dead people, clearing people's houses. Like, I have multiple skills, not just one, but we're in tarot land. So we do what we do. Don't need the cards, never have needed the cards. Sometimes usually tuning in will be a casual conversation and then the doors open, but it's usually requiring your aura to calm down to let me enter. And then when it's ready, I just start talking and it comes. But if you're really adamant, you want a particular vibe, you could be missing very important energy of messages. And generally my guides kick my butt and they're like, yeah, but don't tell her that or don't tell him that. Tell them this. And then sometimes people get shitty. But guess what? Your guides tell me what you need to hear. It's not my fault. Your guide's going, don't tell her that. She's being stubborn. He's being stubborn. only have I had one interval where I have been at a nail technician and their guys have come in screaming at me. I remember a lady who was psychic, and I think she's in Ireland, or no, she could be in America, and she just randomly walks up to people, which my guides have never allowed me to do that, ever. It is such a disrespect to a person's aura. It's like rape, okay? You don't intercept a human being and go, I see a dead person around you. No, you don't do that. It is not okay. But when your guides are up in your grill and they're screaming at you, which on this one occasion, I'm looking and I saw this woman and she had a tattoo. Bless the possum socks. I'm friends with her on Facebook now. And I'm looking over and I literally went to a different nail technician for peace and quiet shit, right? And I've got there and I'm hearing, look to the left. I'm trying to get my nails done. Seriously, look to the left, look to the left. I'm going, I'm on a break. And there's a tattoo on her arm. You're kind of looking around the room when you're getting your nails done because you're going, okay, I'm committing to an hour of my personal life to stare at a face that chooses not to talk to me. And I try and talk shit with you and you ain't looking at me. Thank God I know 2 languages, eh? I can pick up on different languages because of that. Just because I know Turkish, I can pick up on various languages, and it was never my first language. I learnt it from 17. So it's not my first language. English is. This woman has this tattoo, and I looked at it, and I saw the day, and I went, oh, shit. I went, it's her mum. And I said, she made eye contact, and I went, is that your mum? She goes, yeah. I went, that's nice. And then the mum's yelling at me. And I'm saying to her guides, can't she talk to me? Can't she talk to me? I'm not doing this shit. It's rude. It's not me. And she turns and makes eye contact with me. And that's when I was like, she's going to harp on me. The energies, I've literally had spirits follow me home. So if they have some grievances and unfinished business, they will follow me home. They will be standing at the side of my bed. They will be coming into my dreams. And I'm going, childhood for me was an absolute terror. It was, I was seeing things in New Zealand. New Zealand is a very active energy, especially when it does come to ET phone home. And then as I came to Australia, I was 9. The house I moved into, the gentleman who lived there, who was retired, had passed away in the house. So, of course, this spirit was there. A couch that my grandmother gave to us was near my bedroom, and my grandfather was haunting me as well. So it started very young. It started from New Zealand. So I looked at her and I said to her, is that your mother? And she goes, I said to her, look, I don't ever do this. I don't mean any disrespect, but your mother is shouting at me to say hello to you. And she went, I was like, oh God. And she goes, can I tell you something? She goes, it's the anniversary of my mother. And I was crying about an hour ago. I never come to this technician. And I asked her to show me a sign. And she goes, and you've fucking come in here and told me my mother is coming through. And I went, sorry. And then I said, it's random because when you get messages, your ego, and everyone's psychic, you just don't listen. I said, okay, car. It can be something as simple as you're hearing car. And I went, your mother says she likes your black car. And she went, what? I said, is it a new car she's making reference to? And she goes, yeah. What? Oh, okay. Anyway, I gave her a reading, okay? I did hear from her. Friends on Facebook. She probably was like, who the hell are you? Where did you fall from? Generally, I won't intercept. And, the problem we've had in astrology lately is that we tend to get these people that are inboxing you for a reading. Spiritualists, real gurus won't intercept because your soul has to be ready to do the work. Your soul has to be calling. I passed You know, during part of my journey, I passed a tarot shop several times, and my soul was like, do not enter that, don't enter that. Even spiritual guides need guides, but our soul tell us when we have to hear what we need to hear. And that's healthy, that we will seek outside ourselves to confirm that the intuition and the guidance isn't our personal ego intercepting. So sometimes for us it's healthy. And there was a point in my journey, I was like, I need to get a reading. I'm either off point, I'm going the wrong direction, I need to be told and pulled back in. I'm ready to hear what I need to hear. And instantly, the medium was there, the appointment was there, I walked straight in and she told me everything I needed to. And I went to her 3 times, but guides will be there for you when you're ready to hear. They'll be there when you're ready to deal with what dramas you have, what blockages you have. Generally, if you have a loved one that's passed over, they will be around you on their birthdays, anniversaries, or an adverse situation. But spiritually speaking, in different cultures, they do tell you not to call them. Okay, if you're holding on to them, it's because you have trauma and it is holding their spirit hostage. So it's where we have to spiritually get to a point where we release them and understand they're at peace. They're safe. They're not the same vibe. So you could have had a soul in this lifetime that was a real arsehole to you. They're not that vibration in the other life. They're actually not, because they came down here to enact a certain role. But if if there's unfinished business, for instance, and it was quite sudden and they hadn't completed something and it wasn't meant to be their time, that's when their soul will linger around and they can get lost. But it's generally unfinished business. Do you get what I'm saying? But generally speaking, the soul will transcend over. And in certain cultures, they do believe you shouldn't call them back in or be needy on them because they're actually okay. But if they feel you need to have a message, they'll come in at certain intervals to acknowledge and tell you that they're there, that you're never alone, because this realm and that realm is different. I mean, our time frame on Earth is like 5 seconds. So technically you're here for 5 seconds because time doesn't exist on that side, if I can explain that the best I can explain it. Any questions? I've been talking a lot. I'm really sorry. I hope I haven't been boring you. It's been a while. Should we delete this after? Or do we leave it? What do we do? Should we delete it? Let's vote. Some would... I don't need cards. I'm a seer. I'm not a tarot reader. I'm a psychic. You know, I'm like... You know, I literally could, out of a group, pick who's coming into union. I already know who's coming into union. I already know who has blocks, but it depends on whether you want to accept it or not. Sometimes it's a bitter pill to swallow. I need to watch from the beginning. Oh, God. You're enjoying it. You know the sad thing? Sometimes YouTubers psychologically forget that we're actually not talking to anyone. We're talking to our own head. Do you know how pathetic that is? Hi, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. My daughter even mocks me over that. When I first landed on YouTube, which was interesting because I had a revisit of that the other day, because I went to a friend's birthday and I uploaded privately a video for them so they could have it. Happy birthday. You know who you are if you're watching. But I'm also very respectful to people and their privacy. Anywho, I don't even know what rabbit hole I was going down then. So yeah, but it took me down the rabbit hole of, I was actually initially a psychic medium for a long time. I knew I was a psychic medium and I knew I was good at what I did, but I was never at that level where I thought, I want to make this a career. That was not my aspiration, okay? What people call as a gift, actually, effectively, for most psychic mediums to us, feels like a freaking curse. It's like, great, will dead person next door leave me alone, please? I want some peace and quiet. You imagine being a child, and, you know, especially in the generation I came from, which is really sad. I must be getting on because I'm talking about the generation I came from. talking about things to that degree was just not heard of. And so things I was seeing pretty much from a very young age was completely natural to me, but I also felt that my family would not psychologically be able to unpack it. And that's really sad because that's a child feeling that, which means I'm an older soul. And when I came to Australia, it became larger, and I did everything I could to get rid of it. I had a lot of night terrors. Um, my pet dog, which was called Ben, was very protective of me. He would sleep at my bedroom window every night because animals do sense when energy is around. I've had out of body experiences, I've had astro travel, I've had abductions. I don't talk about it a lot. I have had it. I don't even care if anyone believes me because I know what I had and I know what happened. So it doesn't really affect me any by people's opinions. I don't care if they think I'm crazy. I know what happened. Separately, when I did come to Australia, I did meet some really beautiful people that were psychic. And I do feel spiritually on our journey, we meet people when it's ready. And they helped me develop it. And you actually, if you are psychic and you are an empath, you critically need to learn how to control it. It's not going to go away. And collectively, we can find that in the next 18 months. Radical awakenings. People are going to think they're going nuts. That's why I said you're going to need your gurus, support their channels. Pisces in the 12th house is massive psychic energies, to the point in that awakening, you're going to think you're going crazy. You're going to see a dead person at the side of the road and wonder if it's real. I'm laughing because I'm past that. It's like, yeah, it's like I accept the seen and the unseen as they both exist. It just doesn't faze me in the least. And I don't need to prove anything. Do you get what I'm saying? The other thing is depression can come through awakenings. We also understand that with mediumship, some people get excited. Oh, I'm having an awakening. And it's like, whoa, hold on to your horses. You're like a person without their license, driving without skills, but open to psychic attacks. And that ain't fun. And there are some dangerous shit out there. I mean, some of the things you see in videos, don't underestimate them. Ouija boards and things like that should never be messed with, especially for a very, very inexperienced person that has an opening. You can get yourself in a lot of shit. You can get yourself in a lot of danger. I physically have had my legs ripped from the bed. What you see in paranormal activity has happened to me. Separately, and that was really freaky. And I was in the room. I was about, how old was I? And I'm glad that shit not here right now. How old was I? I think I was about 16, 17. So this is a coherent teenager, right? And I'm just sleeping. Never sleep with your feet pointing out a door. Your psychic portal, baby, is at the base of your feet. And so that happened to be the room, and it makes sense to me now. That was the room where Grandpa died in, and it wasn't my grandpa. We moved in his house, okay? And my sister initially slept in there. She got so triggered she would not sleep in there. So she moved rooms near my mum. And I was down the back over the other side, then swapped, and there was a lot of glass. And the other thing with psychics are, keep your bloody mirrors closed. Clean your mirrors regularly. Never daydream into a mirror until you have control of your third eye. So this bedroom had tinted windows. It would turn mirrored because it would swap. And I was asleep on a hot summer's night in my bed, feet out. I swear gospelly, still to this day, I do not sleep with my fucking feet out. Because what happens is my aura's open. And if your feet aren't protected and you haven't upgraded your energy like an oracle, you are susceptible to psychic attacks, interventions, and being physically affected in the 3D. And it does happen in the 3D. So I felt this very solid grab on my ankles, and so much, it was so hard that I woke up and I looked up and I was like, oh my God, what is that? And the jolt was like a car accident and it ripped me halfway off the bed. And so my feet were actually facing out the bedroom door and my heart dropped. I was so petrified. I jumped back and I got to my headboard and I was ripped back down again and I left the room and I wouldn't go back in. So crystals can help. If you have children that are empaths, clean the mirrors. Try to not have mirrors in your children's room. Never have anything under the bed. So if you have those beds and they are open at the bottom, especially, like I said, if you're having a kid that's having a lot of nightmares, you have nothing to risk, okay? The underneath of their bed, fill it with some boxes. Get some tourmaline and onyx and put it in the bedroom to protect. Keep the kids' feet away from open doorways, shiny surfaces, TVs even. If you've got a big screen TV in the room and you're like, I'm being nice to my kid, put a sheet over it at night time. Because what it is it's like Nostradamus and scrying and you're opening up energy. And kids have less ego. So when they're going to school and they're coming home, they get tag on. So if you find your child's demeanour's changing when it comes home, it's because, they could have a friend at school that's had somebody passed. Maybe it's the anniversary and there's an empath at home. Guess what? That empath just grabbed a tag on and they're taking it home. So you'll generally know when your vibe in your home is going a bit funky and it's just smudging it. Do a moon energy, do a smudge. You can put your crystals in your house, clean your mirrors, and that's going to keep the energy neutral. But generally, you'll find the attitude of the people inside the house will change. So it can be they're really aggressive all of a sudden. Smudge it out, clean it out, and you should be good to go. And you can use guided meditation for house cleansing. One thing about being a psychic medium, it does originate in script from, I would say, the more Hebrew. Could I say Hebrew? I wouldn't say Hebrew. Jinn originates from, I'll have to go into more scripture. I'm a bit tired at the moment, but so it's more the Arabic aspect of things. It was like deemed as a physical curse. But it's not so much the European, it goes further back into like the 1600s and beyonds. So it kind of hands down in generations, but collectively people are going through an awakening, so a lot of psychic attacks will happen. Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, clear your houses regularly. Don't go to extremes. You'll find after a while if you're not controlling your third eye and you don't learn to protect your gift of what you have, and I wouldn't deem it as a gift. I'd deem it as it's an opening to a different world that you haven't seen, and you're going to kind of negotiate with it for a bit. You might also feel you're just dreaming. It's not real. Don't outrule it because the nightmares can start happening. You need to know how to use it, which is why I'm going to do the education content and maybe chats like this. If you need help and you have something funky going on in your house, book a reading. Hopefully then we could get to the root cause of it and you don't have to have that vibe, because we are going to have both Saturn and Neptune there for the year, which can potentially bring psychic attacks during the time. So you want to, it's like creating a crystal grid in your house. Okay? So there, you get a bit of 101s, but yeah, for 10 years, how long was I on Facebook? Initially, I was on Facebook for about 3 years, and I had about 10,000 followers. I was just giving free readings away, and one day it was like, I can't really type another reading out because I was working full time, and I made a video and I uploaded it to YouTube, and here I am today. How long for, I don't know, but that is how I ended up on YouTube. No, I want to be a YouTuber. No, I was just trying to give a free reading away. And here we are today. Hi, how are you? So it was pretty relaxed like this in the beginning. I do a little bit of tarot cards. Coffee cups I can do. Again, I don't really need coffee cups either. I can read your face. I can read your aura. I can read the energy coming through a phone. I can read photos. I can astro travel. I can generally pick where the area in your house is haunted. That's not fun, but it is sometimes. Sometimes I can see some external events happening, especially if you've got a project and you're like, is it going to be okay? And I'm like, hey, I'm saying it's going to be a success. Sometimes, yes, that can come through. Last questions before I love you and leave you, because it's bloody late and I've been on here for friggin' hours. It's 11:37. It's earlier than last night. That you travel, you probably do, Ben. You're in bed with your feet out. Fuck that. Yeah, but what way is your... Look, if you got... Say, for instance, your bed's like this. Make sure you have something at the base of it if it's facing a doorway. Or say you've got a roof to floor window. Make sure you have maybe something at the foot of the bed. That's a bit higher than the feet, so it blocks it. Because in the old days, dead people were actually taken out feet first, and it is a psychic portal. That's why, you know, in some cultures, they actually wash their feet. It's like they do a spiritual ceremony to keep their feet clean. They don't expose the sole of their foot. Same as the hands. Some people won't even look at you in certain cultures. There's methods behind things. It's so people can't enter your aura and you're protected. So there's all something behind all of it. I swear he's going to wake up any second. Nothing there on my bed. It's an ensemble. Or have you been having nightmares? I'm probably picking more with your kids. I'm feeling boy. I feel your son. He's cute though. Has he got freckles, Ben? The one with the freckles, love. That's what I'm picking. He's got cute mousy hair. This is the child I'm seeing. For all I know, it could be you as a child, but that's who I see. My cat has decided she's in love with the cubby house and she goes in there regularly. Pat, yeah, is that his name? He likes his hair done a certain way. He's shy, but he's going to be trouble. He's really cute. He is really cute. He's going to be trouble. Yeah. He's an empath. He feels energy. He has a lot of respect for you too. He's a Leo. He's a very, you know, it's funny because Leos do generally have confidence, but he's actually, you've got to look at his rising. I'm telling you, he's got something else there because he's not coming through as a traditional Leo. He's something different. Very, very gentle, very loving boy. But his room, why is his room on an angle? Is it to the back of the house? Is the property kind of on a slope? Something to do with that window there. Does he sleep adjacent to the window, like a sort of side? And whatever he's doing for sport, they're saying he's going to get an award. What's he doing, Ben? Is he going to get into sport or he's already doing something? Because it feels like he's going to do quite well. Yeah, the back room. So is it like, you know, where the property is? Because I can see his bed diagonal to the window. It's quite a dark section of the house. Is it like a property that's kind of sloped? Because I feel that the room's going to be turned. It's quite dark back there, though. Yeah, I actually say with sport with him, he's going to do better than you think, even though, in your opinion, he's small. That's what they're telling me. He's going to do fine. He's going to surprise people. He doesn't care what you think. He's going to show you. But they're just making reference to he's going to find his niche with sport. People love him. People really get on with him. He can get... I don't think he'll do anything stupid in life. He just feels very realistic. But he is an old soul. His room will need to be protected. He's definitely got that empath energy. I'm still unsure whether he looks like you or your partner. I think a bit of both. Yeah. I don't think so. Who knows? I just pick that well, it's whichever person, and I don't see anyone else in his bedroom. So it's the child that has the room alone, or is he requiring it? He's got light mousy hair, that's what they're telling me. Light mousy hair, and he's got something to do with the cowlick in his hair. Is it a particular hairstyle he wants, or is it that he's particular with his hair? He's definitely particular. He's like, don't touch my hair. Oh boy. And we thought the females were high maintenance, Ben. Yeah, because he's like adamant. It's like, I want my own room. He doesn't, is this the younger one? Because the younger one is inadvertently looking to brother, and it's like, no, he's more independent. The younger one is more independent. Yeah, it's like, don't mess with my hair. He's fly. He's all got style. It's like, don't touch my hair. I got a cowlick. I want to do it a certain way. Don't mess with my style. But he won't be rude. He's definitely a good boy. He's a sweetie. And grandparents they're making reference to, but I think it's on your side, Ben. I don't think it's on Mum's side. I think it's on your side. There's a special connection there. Why and who and if they're here, they just make reference to that. He's 4. Oh, what a cutie. Pretty confident for 4. That's an old soul. Ooh. Yeah, he's an old soul. Very, very independent. Not like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Yeah. Any other questions before I love yous and leave yous? I need to go to bed. No, it's not I need to go to bed. I should go to bed. I have clients tomorrow. So you guys can hang out with me. You know who you are. Any other random questions on the house? For a lucky breakdancing. Good grief. Good old breakdancing. I asked the birthday boy the other night to do some breakdance in the middle, and he was too shy. Yeah, you know who you are. I think if he had a few drinks, he would have been a good dancer. His daughter danced. It was fun. Pat. Which one's Pat? You're taking me off to another energy now. Girl, boy. You got a daughter? She pissed off at you. I actually think the one you were talking about, I don't know, they've just taken me off to another child now. No, I don't think it's that they aren't going to make decisions. I do think they will. But they don't want to be controlled. They're going to prove to you something different. It's a different soul path, Ben. So, spiritual children can be... I don't see this child as a naughty child. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I see them as very gentle. You tend to worry about it. You don't need to worry about him. He's actually pretty good. The daughter energy is a bit moody, but I think it's hormonal. There's something changing. Take it away as an issue. Give him citron. Use citron. That can help with confidence, but it also can help with spiritual protection. And just get down to their level and ask them a question. And at the moment, children will be defiant because Mars is in Gemini until it moves out. And then Mars moves into Cancer. I don't know how great that will be, but again, it'll be different. So we just got to gauge it. So just be patient. Attitudes will change. Just usually when you've got a bugbear with that, just take the attention away like it doesn't exist. And then when the person's ready to talk to you, you know, they'll move towards you. I remember, you know, keeping it simple. But again, it's your call, man. It's your kid. Your dad, not me. I'm just telling you what I psychically see. Daughter energy, she's a bit worried. But I think it's to do with the new energy coming into the family. She's going through changes herself. She may be a bit in the next few weeks. And Mum has an energy of a family member coming soon. Okay? I'm going to love you some leap yous. 4 boys. I can see a daughter. There's a girl there. Don't know who the girl is, but there's a girl. Could be a niece. Could be a niece. But there's definitely a girl. Oh, Char, you're still here. Is Ben hogging the chat? That's okay. Yarn, look after yourself, girl. We need to talk soon. We'll have to do a joint energy. We can talk astro. We can kind of pretend that YouTube will grow. That's okay, doll. Okay. Take care, beautifuls. I'll talk to you later.